I do love water, but Febreze is also good. How's this for meta? I'm watching The Apartment in the apartment. That's crazy. How's it going, sweet pea? That's a cute cat right there. That's called subliminal advertising. Well, here we go. I wanted to talk about this series because I don't think there's a lot of chatter on the internet about this series. Sometimes local people will review local titles, but it's a really interesting local photo history series that covers the whole country. They vary wildly in quality, but overall they are an incredible resource. I kind of am amazed that this series of books exists. It's inspired a bunch of knockoffs, and the quality varies wildly. I mean, people think they can phone this sort of thing in and get a quick buck, and I've seen it happen in person. Not so much with this series, but with some of the other similar presses. People will just take postcards, find someone with a postcard collection of historic photos, postcards of an area, scan all their postcards, just reprint the captions as the text next to them. It's the easiest thing ever. I was at the Sandoval County signpost office once a long time ago with somebody else working on one of those books, and I could tell his book was going to be lame and that he didn't know anything about the area history. It was like literally getting everything from the County Historical Society and was driving around to different counties doing this. He had no connection to the place. But these books are very often labors of love. And, I have mostly New Mexico ones, but they exist for all over. Here's one for the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. In 2001, I walked across the country, as I've said many times in this channel, with a group of charity hikers from Key West to Quebec. There's proof. Proof that you stood and took a photo. Wait, no, I did, I swear. We passed through the Smokies when we were down south, and they were amazing. And it's crazy to walk through them, and it's all hills and hollers and ancient times. And then you come out into Gatlinburg, Tennessee, and the Dollywood area. I got this kind of too late for it to be really helpful in the 500-page miniseries script that I wrote about that hike. There's a chapter in my book, but I did then read it and go back and maybe add some things in, I think. I have a memory of this. It's better to read research stuff early on so it can really influence you and be integral in it and not just be stuff that you try to cram in there at the end. I mean, I think it looks pretty seamless if you do it right. Like listening to a great album and it's like, I'm sure they just played this once, right? And it came out exactly like this. No, but it looks like there's some good history. The Smokies are still a really wild place. I had many strange experiences in them, and they're awesome. Walking on foggy days through them, finding old stills, for real. Being just like a car out in the woods that's really old and just sitting there. How did that even get out here? There's trees all around it. It's the only other one I have at the moment, Durango, where I lived when I was in 5th grade. Actually, I lived in Bayfield next to Durango, but Durango was where we had our P.O. Box. P.O. Box 2566, I remember, because it was also this mystic channeler's named Tuella's right before us, and then she moved to Salt Lake and got all her mail. I think sometimes my older brother would answer some of it like it was her, which is called fraud or something, right? It was a long time ago. He just joked about doing that, I can't remember. She got some really wild mail. She was mentioned in this book called Aliens Among Us. There. She wrote this one too. I mean, Ruth Montgomery did. I do have some books by and about Tuella. Check it out. I do have another Images of America book, Roswell, in the New Mexico section. Huh. Well, I'm going to put you with the other. Oh, this is the weird book section. And my friend John LeMay wrote it. Huh. Probably others. I could have sworn I had one about Idaho Falls. Oh, here's Tuella's book. Yeah, this is the lady that had our P.O. Box before us. That's the one she was mentioned in a whole chapter that kind of made her famous. This book is also relevant because Tuella was an Arcturian. She believed that an apocalypse was imminent and that aliens were waiting in spaceships to save the best of us, the most enlightened, when that happens. I mentioned it before. It's kind of a wild thing. There used to be a blog online about Tuella after moving away from Durango, but I don't think it's out there anymore. Crazy. Parts of the internet really do go away and you can just never find them again. I have so many lost media things. I'm like, what happened to that? Like, do I have email addresses that if I just only knew those ancient passwords I could find again? They've probably all been lost to time. So much information about a life at one time. In early email, people wrote such long letters using it. Roswell. John LeMay. This guy's awesome. Mike, dude. It was so great to finally meet you, and I can't thank you enough for this opportunity and encouraging me in my writing and all you've done for me. Thanks. Yay. He started as a writer for my website called mystrangenewmexico.com. He was like, can I do a version of your column, but just about Roswell stuff? And I'm like, and you put it on your site? And I'm like, sure, that's awesome. Though he already had been a published writer in a Godzilla fan magazine, a really prominent one called G-Fan. He's since written books on Godzilla, and you can't watch a Godzilla YouTube video without John LeMay being mentioned. And he's gone on to write so many books. This guy is motivated and prolific, and he really cares about history and like weird cryptozoological animal lore. I think he has whole books about like dinosaur sightings in modern times and stuff. I mean, John is kind of really interesting. And last time I talked to him, it sounded like he's a very different person than he was when I first met him. It's just one of those like dynamic people always going through dynamic change. But yeah, it's great. I love watching making of Godzilla movie videos because they always quote his books. It's fantastic. Check this out. Acknowledgements. I'd first off like to thank Mike Smith, author of Towns of the Sandy Mountains and the man behind My Strange New Mexico, for getting me involved with Arcadia Publishing. Sometimes it really isn't what you know, but who cares to look out for you in the publishing world that gets you started. Thanks, Mike. Hey. John's so cool. Thanks, man. That's awesome. Yeah, a couple of times I drove down to Roswell for his book events, for his first one, for this one. We went and saw the modern remake of the movie The Day the Earth Stood Still in Roswell, which is an alien movie, so that's funny. Cool. But I'm sure this is actually really well researched. I remember disagreeing with it at the time about some of the Roswell incident stuff, being like, I'm not sure if that's my take. But he and I forgot that. We were going to collaborate on a book, and we actually wrote a lot of it and started this project. It was called Roswell, You Decide, and it was all about the Roswell incident. And so I read literally every book about the Roswell incident. I'm not even kidding. I acquired them. I had like rare ones, like this huge Air Force one. I didn't have all of them because I didn't have Carl Flock's first one. Carl Flock was a really interesting writer who lived in Placitas, New Mexico, who he first wrote books about how the Roswell incident was real and then changed to be a non-believer and wrote like the definitive takedown of the Roswell incident story. It's a pretty compelling takedown too. And the government's not lying to us about a million other things. And who knows? I'll tell you, I saw a stealth bomber fly through the sky one time because this is Albuquerque and it's surrounded by military bases. And I really did think I was seeing a flying saucer. It was so crazy. I'm like, it wouldn't be that startling to me here that they got some technology from something that crashed somewhere sometime. There's some weird incidents too, like the Phoenix lights. I don't think that one has been adequately explained, nor have a few others. And in fact, it's really like less weird to believe in some possibility that some of the things cited are extraterrestrial because, I mean, even the government has said, we don't know what these things are. Of course, they released them in a distracting moment, when, look over here, UFO stuff. Doesn't mean it's not significant though. But, so we were going to write this book called Roswell, You Decide, where we were going to alternate between a skeptic and a believer. And we both kind of like switched while we were writing this book. He was like, I'm not sure that all these claims are true as we started going on. And I, meanwhile, kind of started to embrace a little more the possibility of that not everything that we see in the night sky is completely accounted for with earthly explanations. I mean, I got to tell you, we saw some crazy stuff when we were working at this when I was working at this wilderness camp last summer. The night skies were insane. One time we saw like this giant, like huge red object in like a rainbow vortex. It just come screaming down over the trees, and it was so insane. And we were all yelling and freaking out. And I was fumbling with my camera, and I got it going just in time because I was powering it back on. I got it going just in time to get everyone's reaction afterward. Great.